today with my dear friend and my NLP teacher, master practitioner, trainer, Tyler Erickson, and Australia's #1 leading leader business coach, right?
Yeah, they say that.
They say that.
Thanks for having me, Juliet. It's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone.
Humbly. Today I wanted to have you back actually on the channel because I'm reading this book by John C. Maxwell, Good Leader Asks Great Question. And when we were talking, you said you love that subject. Great questions get great results. So I wanted to start with that immediately. What is a great question?
What is a great question? A great question is, I feel like it's something that somebody asks when they want to take action or they want to find a result or move towards something. So a great question for a different person can mean different things. And when I'm coaching in groups, somebody's great question might not be somebody else's great question. And it's about asking the right person. It's about asking, the right timeline. It's about asking the right question for you. So what's next for you is the best way to start thinking about how to ask someone who's an expert what they can do to help you based on your journey rather than based on their journey or somebody else's journey. So it's really a selfish process of going, hey, what can I get from this situation? Because people love to teach and they'll teach you whatever you ask them. But if you're going to do nothing with it, then it's just a bit of a dead conversation. But if you get true value from a question and answer process, then you're starting to be able to add value to your reality in your life.
So this is why good questions are important.
Yeah, they're crucial if you want to run a successful business and life.
What makes a powerful question? Because I feel like I ask questions all the time. I ask why all the time because I want to know why people do what they do or why they take the action that they're taking. There's always a why behind everyone's purpose. So
there has to be a why. It's the human experience. We're created separate to come back to wholeness. And why people do what they do is normally there's an underlying motive behind everything, even if they're not conscious of it. And you've been learning that through your NLP trainings. It's like often what we're doing in day-to-day life is triggered by something else that we value rather than the actual moment itself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'll explain it. I'm just going to put myself on.
It's okay. I have kids, and we're doing our best.
It is, yeah. It's busy, and you jump on the laptop on a meeting, and then it's things. So the question I need to ask myself is set an alarm. So I always put myself on do not disturb so we don't get interrupted. But so why you do what you do behind the motive is like if you have we use positive. So if you have an underlying desire to be successful and happy and live a whole life, your motives and your values are going to be that. So the next thing that you do, and this is where people talk about procrastination. I had a guy message me, I'm figuring out 20 ways to solve procrastination. What are your tips? I'm like, deal with the root cause, right? Because the motives are around, for successful people are around, well, I want to be successful. So today it's Sunday at 12 o'clock and I'm on a call with you so I can share my message. So my motives are around my mission and my business, and there's financial motives in this. There's so much going on. There's love because I care about you as a friend motives, and my motives are good and positive. So I'm on this call 5 minutes before I'm ready to go. I've got a nice shirt on. I'll make sure the bookshelf's clean. Like it's all there, right? So my motives for life are around success. Whereas someone who's procrastinating, their motives for life, before that, there's something going on there that's stopping them from having the ability to even ask a great question because they're asking questions based on trying to solve or find a solution for their motive or their direction in life. So if you're asking questions from a poor mindset or a limiting belief, just say you have a limiting belief, I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy, or the fear of success or the fear of failure or anything like that. Your motives are going to be in fight or flight or an adrenaline response question around, hey, I need this to get what I want, because if I don't, then something bad's going to happen. Yeah. So that question is like it takes so much energy to ask a question based on that. And you're constantly putting out fires with those questions. So if you find yourself asking questions to solve problems after the solution, then it's time to make a change and do some deep work. And I know Juliet's doing beautiful breakthrough work, and I think you're moving into group work, and she's the person to talk to do that NLP work and get to the root cause and go, well, what's creating the questions that you're asking that are making you have to continue to fix problems rather than find solutions for things before they happen? And this happens at every level of your growth. Every step of the way, like even myself, I find myself, I'm putting out fires in my business or in relationships. I go, okay, cool. So something shifted within me. And it's a process through life. So I come back to self, I come back to my breath, and I come back to my processes that, we teach you guys. And I have conversations with my coach, who's a guy, he's a legend, he's in his 70s. And I go, okay, cool, this is coming up for me. What's alive for this right now? Can you help me through it? And then I change my motives and I come back to love and success and growth. And I can see what I need to do. I can see where I need to start doing things before. So the questions that I'm asking are towards motivated or a success motivated or a valuable motivated answer, rather than what do I need to fix right now? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Recently, after I finished the training, since we are creating our reality and whatever is in our unconscious mind is actually outside of us. If we look around where we live, how we live, even our drawers represents our unconscious mind, right? My drawers are super clean right now. But I created a situation where it put me in a very difficult financial place. And I asked myself, I'm like, why did I create this? And that why unleashed me to my freedom. So I'm so used to working paycheck to paycheck. I had a story. If I had a story of I'm a single mom, nobody helps me, I work hard, and I'm alone. This was my story. My entire 15 years of having children. And before then, even, it started when I was 10. Actually, I did an ECT process, and I realized when I do my best, and even if I fail, I get a reward from people. They say, you're doing a great job. You're doing your best. They're hugging me. They're applauding me every month. Oh my God, you paid your bills. Look, you're raising 2 kids by yourself. And I realized that my brain was asking for that reward every month.
Yeah.
And I actually loved being that way. The minute I noticed that I loved being that reward, so I made unconscious conscious, it disappeared. Because I realized, okay, I'm creating that again. Okay, I'm doing it again. No, I'm not doing it. So my question is, when we reward every win, even if it's
celebrate all success.
You completed a task, like in the training, we say, yay, you got it. We celebrate every win. So I'm assuming that's creating a pattern in our brain that win is recognized by a reward. So we are producing a dopamine. It's like celebration, it's happiness. I realized that I was creating that on the negative level. Okay, stay poor, so you're going to get that reward. So now I changed the perspective, I changed the narrative, and now I literally getting up at 7 p.m. on Saturday for me, instead of watching Netflix and being with my kids, I'm like, nope, I'm going to go do what I decided to do, and I'm going to reward myself. And I actually jumped up and down before I came to this call because I want to implement that in my brain.
Yeah.
So what would you suggest someone who's just starting and they're just breaking through just like me? How can they celebrate every win? It's so simple and it's so difficult. I forget, I don't even honor myself sometimes when I do things. But as a coach, what would you tell everyone? Like, where do we start? Where do we start honoring ourselves? It doesn't matter big or small.
It's so the small things are more important than any accolade or award or amount of money or fucking party or relationship or gold medal, whatever you want to call it. Like sitting down and being present at the dinner table with your partner or your kids and seeing happiness and that that you could provide food, and just being present with those little things will make the big things so much more rewarding. Like being able to sit, like we can see with our eyes and not everybody can do that, right? Being able to sit in the garden and watch a leaf fall from the tree and finding true gratitude for everything that nature is, and then that very moment that leaf fell and flipped and flopped in that exact, and it'll never happen like that again. And just becoming, like when people talk about coming back to presence and coming back to self and just having true gratitude, and I use Ho'oponopono, which is Hawaiian, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And just being so grateful for the fact that we get to live this experience. And the way that I trained myself to do this is I actually set an alarm on my phone that went off every hour for 6 months.
What does it say, the alarm? Like, what does that remind you every hour?
Come back to self and choose to move towards the goals that I'd set for myself.
Okay.
Am I where I'm supposed to be? Which was the question I'd asked. And sometimes I wasn't. Sometimes when I was learning and going through my journey, sometimes I wasn't. Every night I would journal until there was nothing left to come out. Like, this is stuff that you can do for free. You don't have to pay anybody.
Yeah.
You can set an alarm for twice a day. Just go, am I doing today what I'm supposed to be doing to get to where I want to go? Because it's about making the life that you desire now. It's not about moving towards it. It's about, well, if I want to be all these things, how do I do that now? Like, how do I show up now? And with the illusion that comes up is people short-term reward themselves with items. And I've been guilty of this as well. And things, right, over the life they want to experience. So that's how you get into financial burden, because they're creating the short-term satisfaction and foregoing the long-term satisfaction, and therefore creating that dopamine hit that you spoke about. Whereas if you think every day, where am I going? Where do I want to go? Like, am I doing the things today that are going to get me to where I want to be now? So rather than in 6 months now, if you've planned to go drinking, for instance, instead you'll go for a walk and spend time with friends. If you plan to even go for a walk and spend time with friends is sometimes a distraction, and you know that you've got a heap of stuff to do on social media or you've got meetings or whatever, then you go, okay, cool, so that's not on track. And then you go, well, I love going for a walk, so I'm going to do that next week once everything's done. And then you'll find yourself bringing the future back to now. And then, this doesn't always feel good. That's the other thing. It's like people want to feel good about changing what made them happy. And the bullshit about it is like being broke made you happy.
And I didn't know about it.
You didn't know about it, right? But you knew, because everything we do has a positive intention for us. Everything we do has a positive intention for us.
I thought like me working hard and accomplishing every month, I would pay my bills and I would celebrate that. So I was celebrating the wrong things. So my brain unconsciously kept creating more bills to celebrate.
You'll sign up for more things. And, I've been there myself. Like, a lot of people go through this journey. This is the normal societal program. So if you're sitting there thinking, fuck, that's me, like, of course it is. This isn't a surprise to me. Like, if you're watching this and going, wow, I do that, then like you've been programmed to.
This is exactly why I'm sharing, because this is something I would never usually share.
Yeah.
My mission is now to actually show people, hey, I've been there, I can help you.
Yeah. And it is, there's people along the steps of all the way, and the human experience isn't about being perfect, because perfect is death. The human experience is about experiencing. And the more you do, the more challenges are going to come up. Like, my business is expanding at the moment. We're growing. We've got team on. And that brings up challenges that sometimes don't feel good. But it's not about feeling good for the dopamine here. It's about feeling good about coming back to wholeness and go, okay, what am I creating in this reality? What am I creating in this existence? And for me, it's my mission. It's to get a community of people together that feel served by us without taking from us. And it's about allowing those people to come back to wholeness and recognize that they may have some things that are holding them up or back, or whatever you want to call it, from living to their full potential, and then giving them other options. Because as you move through life, you get tools and resources. And I'll call people lazy sometimes. I don't know if you've heard me do it. I'm like, you're just fucking lazy, because sometimes I see people have the resources and they're not using them. And by going, hey, you're lazy, they go, yeah, okay, I get it. And then the underlying limiting belief comes out. And it may be something like, if I get successful, I'll be so different from my friends and families that I'll be lonely.
That was also me.
It's a big one.
Because my surroundings, the people were just like me. Hardworking, working paycheck to paycheck. And if I actually became successful, I would not fit in anymore.
Yeah.
And what if I can't find new friends? Because nobody wants to be alone. And then I realized the minute I break that cycle, the new people start showing up that I would never imagine being friends with. Oh, that's impossible. And all of a sudden they're in my life.
They're waiting for you. And you're
smiling.
They're like, hey, cool, you're here now.
Yeah.
We've been waiting.
I'm getting weird, all of a sudden a message on IG, or all of a sudden I bump into them.
Yeah.
So if my unconscious mind is creating this new reality, you better believe that it created everything else in the past.
100% it did. That's where the full responsibility comes from.
Yeah.
And that's where the bit that blows people's mind. And that's the piece that makes this so hard, right? Because if you look at traumatic events, I didn't create that. But if you're a manifester, then you're a fucking manifester. It doesn't matter what was created, you did it.
So this is actually the control mechanism.
Yeah.
You have power to change it.
Yes.
I call it a supercomputer, and it is so easy to change it. So I have a fully running 6-week program now. I have.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm super grateful. I did a session with a 72-year-old man. He was very successful up until 5 years ago. All of a sudden now he's working paycheck to paycheck. I said, what changed? And he said, well, I used to work in an office and everyone looked up to me and I was having really so much fun. And now for the past 5 years, I'm working from home. No one needs me.
Mm.
So I realized at that moment that his needs are not being met. So he doesn't need to make himself successful, or he doesn't really need to even get out of bed to, go to work. He can just be on his computer. And we changed that because he didn't feel I'm good enough, because now I'm not helping anybody. So I'm nobody.
Yeah.
And it affected his income. And seeing all these things, and sometimes the simplest question can be a door opener to, what do you think? Is a big question.
Yeah. But I had a call with a client this morning, and he's having a hard time. In the whole scheme of things, he's actually probably worse off than most people I'm speaking to at the moment. And the question that changed it for him, and I'm like, well, what result do you want from this?
Yeah.
From all this pain? What do you want to get out of this? And he's like, I said, you might as well make it worth it. And then he just flipped, and the whole conversation ran into action taking steps. And I didn't actually have to do anything as a coach then.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now I'm doing the same thing actually with my kids. I'm very careful where I'm rewarding them.
Great.
Very careful. I don't run after them if they're crying.
Right.
Like, yeah, let it cry, get it out. You know, I'm not saying, oh, stop crying. None of that. I'm just like giving them space. And then when they're back to their self, then we can have a conversation. And ever since I stopped doing that, my daughter's now she's total A. Every class is A, and she's having so much fun. My parenting style changed because now the question I ask her even changed.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And kids are like everything they know is taught from you until they go up to school. And I'm not a parent yet. I have raised children for a friend. I help a child raise a friend. And the way that we act and respond to them changes their whole experience of how they do life, especially younger kids. And then like our parents are doing the best they can with the resources they have. And my parents were very loving and very caring and always there and allowed us to process. And I still came up with things because we like to find our challenge in life. So whether you're the worst parent, had the worst parents on earth, or whether you had the best parents on earth, there's always something that's going to be your challenge. And this is why I think everybody needs a coach, because if you want to get to those next levels of success, because I work with a guy who's an 8-figure business owner and a high end of that, right? And he's still got problems because it's about experiencing life. This isn't about how much money you make or what you're doing for work or what your mission is or whether you got kids. This is like, do you want to get the most out of the experience? Do you want to wake up and go, yes, like, let's do this? Do you want to feel sadness and go, oh, awesome, I get to move through sadness. I'm going to go light the fire and I'm going to sit around and I'm going to feel this emotion and then it's done. It's actually done. So 6 months time it comes up and you go, oh, I'm glad I had that experience. And if it was someone past, then you can feel blessing and love for their life and continue to move on. So the purpose of this experience is to experience. And the best way to expand this experience is to ask great questions, because somebody else has already done what you think you're doing. We think we're special. That's the other problem that people have. We think we're like, my problem, like it's the worst problem. Like I hear it all the time. Oh, I'm a real tough cookie. And I'm like, you're not that special. Everybody's got problems. Everybody's got stuff going on. And everybody has the ability to move through them with the same work. If you want to pay more money for it, go for it. If you want it to take 4 years longer than everybody else, go for it. Like that's the I'm special. But we're all having the same experience and somebody's already gone through what you've gone through. And some people do it easily and some people do it tough.
Yeah. So as a coach, how do you help people realize their talent within them?
The talent within them?
Yeah. How do you help them find that?
Yeah, I remove I call it the muck. So I work with senses, so eyes, ears, and how we project our voice, what we smell. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but when you're sad, things smell different. Like our senses are how we experience reality, and the conscious and unconscious mind holds our reality in place with pictures that we don't see and how we see it. You may have, and people who are listening may have experienced the colors are all brighter. Like, oh, it's a beautiful day. You know, if you've been down for a bit, you walk out, you're like, oh, how green is everything? The sun's out. This is great. And when you're sad, it looks great. And even if the sun's out, like, oh, that roof next door is dirty, but you didn't look next door and see how beautiful the tree was because you were looking at the dirty roof because that's your projection. So there's this film of muck that goes over our senses that stops us from being able to ask great questions and move forward and see the beauty that we truly have, right? So I start to take those films of muck off, which are in the shape of pictures, and it might be a limiting belief when you're a child, it might be this. And if you get rid of the muck and then you give someone permission. So another thing I do is like, you've got to be selfish first. Like, no, you can't be selfish. I'm like, you have to be. Stop sharing everything. Stop being nice to everyone. Learn to say no. Start being selfish with love. So it's not, no, it's mine. It's like, hey, no, like I need to do this for myself today. And when you feel like saying yes, feel like saying yes. And then I don't have to do anything once that happens, because underneath all of that, underneath every human being, I don't care who they are, there's a beautiful soul that has so much potential and so much strength. You get rid of the muck and you give permission, and somebody will tell you what their strengths are. There's nothing to do. It's just really about clearing everything up, and the strengths will just come out and they'll flow out.
Yeah. So you coach leaders in the business. My question is, how can you help people to achieve their max potential when they're in their comfort zone and they don't care to leave it?
So there's not, the first thing I say before I do it is, are you coachable and do you have the desired result you want? And if they say yes, then we keep working together. If they say no, then I go, do you just want therapy? Because that's what it is. If you're in a comfort zone, it's therapy. Yeah. And sometimes they say yes, and I go, I'm willing to charge you for that if that's what you want, but you can get so much more out of this if you want to work with me. And then the second thing I say is, the unconscious mind is programmed to search more continuously. And this is what we call a negative internal representation. So if you are in a comfort zone and we talk about 7-year cycles, and I go, when was the last time you had a big shift in your life? And they'll go, oh, 3 years ago, this happened and I feel great and everything's going good. So if everything stays the same in your life, your unconscious mind is going to continue to become aware of more in your reality. It's going to become aware of better cars. And we've all bought a car and 2 years later wanted a nicer car, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be aware of bigger houses, and it's going to start seeing these things for you to move into, because we're designed as expansive beings. And it's going to go, oh, that's nice. And then your neighbor's going to get a nice and new fence. And you're going to go, oh, that's a nice fence, but I'm good. I'm in my comfort zone. I don't need another car. I've got the BMW. But you see the Ferrari and your unconscious mind goes, I want that, right? Your partner, you know, with your beautiful partner, and if you're not constantly expanding and growing in and falling in love with him or her, then they become boring because you haven't decided to see more of them. Mm. And all this process of more. We're greedy. Humans are. And we can be greedy in love. We can be greedy in growth and expansion in a better world, or you can be greedy in other things. So all this is coming up for you, and your conscious mind and your unconscious mind start to create separation because you know, I'm good, I'm in my comfort zone. So as you get closer towards that end of that 7-year cycle and your brain starts to go into a new development stage, which happens all through life, you go, oh, things just aren't what they used to be. I'm earning the same amount of money. But if you map this across to financial inflation, it's exactly the same. You leave your money in the bank for 10 years and it's going to be worth less unless you invest it wisely, and the banks will help you with that, right? And conscious inflation is the exact same thing. So you may be comfortable now, but if you do nothing, you won't be comfortable in 4 years' time. Are you willing to take the risk? Mm. Or are you wanting to start to create a journey and a trajectory where you can continually move into more and growth and expansion and build a mission and a life of purpose? And if they say yes to that, then I start working on the problems that could come up. So I start teaching resources and skills and communication, start talking about where the business is going to be in 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 10 years, and start going, okay, let's make an action plan to move into that gracefully, rather than waiting for shit. Because a lot of businesses fail because they hit this point and they go, oh, it's great, but good, I've got money coming in, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. But the body and the soul and the experience sees that just as bad as if you've done nothing.
So if they're on the nice level, everything is working, they're happy, how do they know they're in a comfort zone? Will they get bored? Is that a sign?
Apathy. Often, depending on where they're at with their values or their level of growth, there'll be apathy, there'll be the occasional sadness. Things will start to not work. You'll start finding yourself not wanting to go in. Often there'll be signs of skepticism. There'll be signs of words slip my mind. You'll feel the occasional bit of jealousy. Alcohol is normally what shows up. Alcohol or drugs or or an addictive personality, because you'll just seek more elsewhere, right? And you'll seek the dopamine you get and the growth, because this is an opinion, so this is not medical advice. My opinion is all those things are created because we're not growing into our full potential.
Yeah.
All those things are done because there is so much more for us, and we know that, and we either don't know how to do it or we're choosing not to. So you find something else to go, oh, okay, cool, I can just feel good all the time.
So something recently happened to me. Ever since I broke that cycle, now I am awesome. I'm doing really good.
Right.
And a couple of days ago, I went into a total fear. What if it disappears? What if it doesn't continue? Oh my God, what am I doing? Look, and I literally paralyzed myself for like 10 minutes. I was like, is it gonna last? Is it just a fluke? Is it the first time is a luck? And I talked to my coach, and she said, your unconscious mind is coming up, gonna test you. You gotta keep pushing. So can you tell me why this happens?
Why? It's to keep you focused. People become paralyzed by the fact that, I'm just thinking about the audience that's listening before I say certain words, because there's certain concepts that can hurt people if they're not ready for them.
No, it's okay. Maybe they need to hear it.
Yeah.
Don't filter yourself, because whatever you're saying here, whoever is listening, they need to hear it.
Okay. So
you can use me, like you're telling me, and I'm ready to hear it.
Certainty is an illusion.
Okay.
And the unconscious mind knows that. It knows that it's an illusion. It knows that you've created everything in your reality. So the fear that comes up is actually the rocket fuel that you need to go, okay, cool. How can I create certainty, which is never going to be created, right? For me to build the structure and the systems and put things in place. So it's a point of growth.
Yeah.
And if you think of ourselves as nature or as animals, nature would feel the feeling of, there's not much water coming at the moment, or there's heaps of water. I need to grow my roots bigger, and I need to set, like, I've got the ability right now to put myself down some good solid foundations, right? And start to build, for your sake in a coaching business, a community and some IP and some digital products and maybe some merchandise, and stick some money aside into an investment account rather than spend it because the fear is coming up. Because the truth is it can all disappear if you stop.
Yeah.
It actually can. It could stop, like everything could stop for me overnight if I stop.
Yeah.
So you're having a realization of, okay, cool, I'm all in now.
I think growth comes with responsibility.
100%. And you learn to deal with the responsibility a lot more. And then the certainty becomes, you start to build the certainty within yourself. Because if everything stopped, if everything that I was doing in my, so I've got little bits and pieces going on everywhere, if I stopped everything, I could just take one-on-one clients and I'd be okay. So my certainty comes from the fact that I know that I'm really good at what I do. I'm really good with helping people with strategies.
Yeah.
And people know that. But if people stopped knowing that, then I'm in trouble, right? Yeah. But I also know that I built within myself, so I'm a qualified carpenter. I'm a landscaper. I've worked in underground mining for 7 years. I've managed and ran nightclubs and hotels. So it's like, I don't always have to be a coach. So when I feel the uncertainty, it's like, how committed am I to what I'm doing? Because there's a feeling coming up of, or maybe I'm off mission, because I start thinking about, well, if I have this feeling, Juliet, I have it. Like, this could all just stop tomorrow.
Yeah.
Based on my input. But then I go, oh, well, I could just go back mining, but then that takes me off mission. So I'm just all in, and the fear is going to come.
This is
what you do with it.
My thinking process is, I have so many, my father used to call the golden bracelet. I did hair for 17 years. I can always go back to doing hair. I used to work in a restaurant as a manager. I can always go back and work in the restaurant. I will always work. I'm not afraid of work. Coaching is new, and it's going really well. And I really enjoy it. And all of a sudden, when I had that fear, what if it doesn't continue? And then I remind myself, when I start doing hair, when I started, Okay, you just started, you're getting clients at that moment too, because I really love it, so I don't want to lose it. I'm holding on to it. Like, what if I never have clients anymore? And look, it brought me here today. So it's part of the growth. It's normal. And it's not a scary monster like I used to create it in my head. And I've done all the ECT, so I'm pretty confident that I'm really good at what I do. I enjoy it, and people feel it. And it's just, I want to share it with everyone. It's normal as you dive into a new adventure. These fears are going to come up, and it's healthy. If I were in that comfort zone, I would not be growing. So
if you didn't have fear coming up, then you wouldn't be moving as fast as you possibly could. You'd be playing it safe, which is fine. But if you're moving quickly, then the fears that you're feeling are going to come up. And Liz and Amy and I often use the head of the arrow, or like when I do breath work, that's a better explanation. We do breath, and I go pull it back and hold it, and then imagine yourself pulling the arrow back and holding it. And if life is inspiration or like breath, and then let go. So just be the bow and arrow.
Yeah.
If you hold on to that breath, there's no way that you can project. This is a masculine way of looking at this. Project the energy that you need to into your business. So the fear comes up. You go, okay, cool, move forward. Fear comes up, breathe in, release, and just release it into energy. And my coach calls it rocket fuel. He goes, oh, awesome. I'm like, man, this week this happened. Like, and I'm talking about big stuff happening for me. And he's like, oh, great, cool. So you've got some rocket fuel. How are we going to use it?
Yeah, like, that's a great tip. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Yeah, it's good.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm super excited for what's to come. I'm building an empire, and right now I'm helping everyone build an empire because I'm paving the road, basically.
The best leaders I've ever met have created more leaders.
Say it again.
The best leaders I have ever met have created more leaders. That's how they become a true leader.
Oh, yeah. That's the only way you grow, I feel.
Yeah.
You know,
so rather than leading someone, create a leader in everyone you know. Like I'm rebranding as we speak into personal leadership. So we're going to move like CEO mindset within yourself for whatever you're doing, and then having all the concepts and then building different structures. So everybody who works with me in my one-on-one coaching, we're going to focus on all the aspects of life, and I want them to become their own leader. So rather than teaching them to follow me, I'm going to teach them to lead themselves. And it's a much more beautiful experience. And they're always going to be there. And then the world gets to be full of leaders. And then we get to transform as a race rather than just transform as, I guess, concepts and ideas, or one person gets all the power or government's in charge. It's like, as a people, we can get to that utopian society if we continue to grow people who lead through love.
Yeah. So all the people that I look up to, that I want to be one day, I'm not going to name because I will be a guest on their podcast. I don't want to jinx it. I always remind myself when I see their accounts like, oh, 1 million subscribers or 10 million subscribers, or, you know, they're doing talks on TED and all that stuff, the people that I look up to and learn from. I said, they all went through this road. Now I'm on. Yeah.
I'm at the bottom of those lists of people. Like, so I'm really good at what I do, and my career is building, and I still remember, like, and I think about this often, and I'm humble with it. I still remember when I was working in mining and I used to go away for 7 days. I still remember watching videos on personal development and coaching and journaling and writing and reading on the way to on the thing and feeling anxious about it. I have a video of before I did my first personal development thing of myself sharing how anxious I am about the money I've spent and how it's this big deal. And I think it was was like 3,300 Australian dollars for 8 months of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, it's just such a big investment, and I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that I know that what I'm doing is not working, and I have that video. So that actually is a piece for everybody. If you're going to start your journey, create a video and save it somewhere, and then come back in a year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, and watch it, and just recognize that everybody's on a journey. Juliet has one of those videos. I have one of those videos. Elizabeth Ann Walker, who's amazing, she does the NLP training. She would have those videos. She often puts the posts up. Amy, we talk about posts that you put on Facebook. When you get a reminder from 10 years later, you're like, wow, I've come a long way.
Yeah.
And just like the people that you're talking about, they all started somewhere. They were probably in high school thinking, I just want to be someone.
Yeah.
And then you take the steps and you use the fear as force, as moving forward.
Actually, if there is fear, that's a good sign, because behind the fear is the success. If there's no fear, if this super chill, then you're on the wrong path.
Well, there's a post on my Facebook. It's like, if the road's easy and everybody else is on it with you, then you're on a one-way ticket to mediocrity.
Yeah. So there's one thing I do every night. Yeah. Since I learned that what you measure grows, right? Mm-hmm. I have my night notebook, like a diary. Every night before I go, I write 5 things. I can't write a million items on the gratitude list. I just pick 5 because it's easy. I want to make it easy for my mind. I write 5 things that I'm grateful for a day, and then on the other page, so I have my notebook here. So it's like both pages, right? One page, how much money came to my bank today? Even if I find a quarter,
yeah,
I write down quarter. I basically measure it.
It's great.
On that page, okay, today I made $50.
Mm-hmm. Thank
you. And on the other page, I'm grateful. Today I did this. I did the video with Tyler, and and that's it. That's it.
That will help you gain success more than you could know.
I start measuring everything.
Mm-hmm.
So my focus changed from lack to what I have.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's growing more.
Yeah,
faster.
And more. The purpose is the intention behind. Before you take an action, your intention is growth in measure.
Yeah.
So when you're going to, so this is the thing, you're doing this. So everybody who's listening, you're doing this anyway. So before you go to bed every night or through the day, you are setting yourself measures, but you're not measuring what's will find you success. You're measuring whether the jobs around the house are done, or how sad you are, or how many hours you did today. Like, so if you measure hours, you're going to be focused on doing more hours work. Like, you're doing this anyway. And the reason why this works so successfully is because if you change the cycle from, okay, so I was measuring how many bills I had to pay. So great, here's some more bills. This is what we're doing right now, life. You know, mind's like, hey, self, mind, body, heart, we in? We're good. All right, she wants more bills. Yay. More bills come in. We're doing it. And you're going, I just want some money. No, you said you wanted bills. You check them twice a day. You see when your bank account comes down, right? So we're doing it anyway. You change the frame on that to gratitude and growth. Unconscious mind, conscious mind, higher self, body, like when you feel things in your body and the gut brain, everything starts to go, we're working on growing, and we're working on expanding, and we're working on legacy and empire and creating more leaders. Cool. So as simple as something like when you feel hungry will change based on your sleep patterns. Because if it doesn't matter to your unconscious mind, you're just focused on bills. So it'll make you feel like shit because that's what makes you feel loved. Whereas if you're focused on growth, it'll go, actually eat healthier today. Actually keep the house clean and tidy. And you'll do it unconsciously. You'll go to the drawer and you'll take a fork out and you'll move the teaspoons over and change the thing over and put the spatula where it's supposed to go, and close the drawer and wipe the fridge over when you walk past with a cloth, and the house is clean. But you're not thinking about it. It's just because you're in alignment with expansion and growth. So it's writing those 5 things down every night, will change your fucking life more than any personal development you can do.
I want to point something out. Since it seems like it happened overnight, I want everyone to know it took me 20 years.
That's a 20-year overnight success.
Yeah. 20 years I've been working on this until I've done NLP training, until I figured it out that brain is actually a supercomputer and I can actually change things. And when you figure out the reward system and speak towards what you want and reward your brain for accomplishing those little 5 things, or even finding a quarter, like, hey, yay, I found a quarter on the ground. I just write it down. It's a hand-eye movement. I'm not putting it on my computer. I'm actually implementing it. And it took me 20 years overnight. Correct.
It's the 20 years processing and working. And the beautiful thing about what you've just shared, Juliet, is anybody who works with you gets to have all that experience and growth and what didn't work distilled down into 6 or 8 weeks, or if they decide to do mentorship with you for 6 months, they get everything.
They get everything.
If you've, like, I've been on my journey, 2013 was probably when I started my journey. And you get that in 8 weeks because I know what's worked and I know that you are me, and I can go, hey, okay, cool. So here's all this stuff that I've learned, and I'm going to be able to find what's worked for you quicker. So getting a coach is going to trump reading a book. It's going to trump doing this on your own. It's actually going to help you succeed faster.
Yeah.
People talk about financial investments. Oh, that's a lot of money. Compared to what if you change your life and you find happiness? Like, if you're truly happy and you know how to be abundant and make money and create, even if it's a promotion, or move yourself up through the ranks of your work and you have an edge on everybody else, whatever your coach is charging you, they've thought about it deeply. And they know that they can give 20 to 100 times that value over the next couple of years and the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So
I know. I know exactly what it means not to have it. And for me, it's so important. If someone is investing in me, I want to give them my best.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I know my coach feels the same. I have a coach. You have a coach. I feel everyone needs to have a coach in life.
Yeah. And now mine's 45 minutes on a Friday at 11. And I tell him what's happened in the week, and he just sees if there's anything there I need to tune up. And if there's big things happening, I'll message him and go, hey, I'm going into this meeting, or I'm doing this thing. And he'll be like, okay, cool. Do you remember what we talked about? So that for me is so valuable.
Yeah.
As you get more successful, get some of your income and make more money, because, by the way, whatever we want to do, we'll be able to generate more money for it if we put our mind to it, because the body will get into alignment with it. And so will the mind and the heart. You go, okay, I need personal development for a period of time. And, I've had clients that I see once a month and they ring me for 30 minutes. There's a beautiful little fly flying across my camera.
Actually, I keep seeing it. I thought it was my eyes first. I'm like, what's something in my eye? But it's good. It's good. We have a visitor. We have a visitor. So tell me, what are you offering right now?
Okay, so we're offering a few different things. We have a group program that we're offering, and that's for interviews only. So I've got my head coach, Nick Marsh, who's come on board, and he's been helping me get everything organized, and he's starting to do the initial reach out call for me. So if you reach out to me, you'll get Nick, or my partner Candace. We're running retreats coming up. So we've got a relationships retreats coming up. We've got a networking business retreat running up. And we've got a leadership retreat that we're going to run for men only. And working with me one-on-one I'm not taking space at the moment. I'll be free in a month. We also have a group that we've created called Ignite, which is going to be free content for everybody. So you can go on my Facebook or my Instagram and click on that, and you can go into the group where I'm going to be sharing in there once a fortnight and adding in some great questions to ask you to get people thinking, as well as info that comes through if I find something exciting. And then after that, we have Ignite Premium, which is going to be $1 a day personal development.
Amazing.
We want to get it out to the masses with people, community, and coming together. And with that, you'll get a 5-minute video every day, and that's starting to launch soon. We're just going to build it up first, and then there'll be a Facebook group. There's a little fly again.
No, it's okay.
We've got a Facebook group in there, so you'll be able to share into there, and it's going to be accessible for people who are at the very start of their journey. I looked at this, and I've so many people in it. Like I remember having no money when I was younger, and like something like this would have truly helped me. So I'm going to actually put so much value in there. We want to get 10,000 people in that community so I can go start running free events and seminars and festivals for people, so it's making enough money to sustain itself, and I can put things on for people who currently don't have that resources to take that next step. So that's the main product that we're offering and we're building, and it's launching next month.
Amazing.
Super excited about it. And for $1 a day on a subscription that you can cancel every time, somebody can go, oh, this is for me. So
now you're going to be creating a lot of content.
Yeah.
And you have trainings coming up. Master Prac is coming up, I believe, in November.
Yeah, we've got Prac coming up.
Prac is coming up in end of September.
Yeah, and then Master Prac's in November, and then next year we have training seasons again, which will be February Prac, April Prac, July, and then from there, if you choose to come into Master Prac, that's great.
I am coming in May.
You're coming in May. I see that. We have hybrid as well, so if anybody is anywhere and
yes, or like so many people are signing up from my end. I think 4 people already signed up for the hybrid. Yeah, I was going to actually be on it. Now with my full schedule, I can't, and it's a good excuse.
That's it. We'll take it.
I need to be really, really well rested. I have people that they paid me, and I'm responsible for their well-being. I don't want to be like half asleep on the coaching calls. It's I take this very seriously,
Great.
Yeah.
If you take it seriously and you're certain, then people will get the results that they desire.
Yeah, I'm very honored that they picked me, and and they are like me. It's so weird. Like I'm almost talking to myself, and I realized as a coach, I'm attracting my old self.
You will realize that for the rest of your life.
I guess,
anybody who's thinking to work with you that sees you or looks up to you is actually seeing the version of themselves that they know that they're capable of. Yeah. Because this is that on a spiritual level, as within, so without, as below, so above. And it is not possible for somebody to be in your experience and engaging you in coaching for them not to be you.
Yeah.
They will be your journey. And the beautiful thing is like, this is how we say everybody can be a coach, because all you have to do is be a couple of steps along the road.
Yeah.
And go, hey, I can help you with your next step.
I'm loving that fly. We have a fly on the camera. That is so cute. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for cutting your Sunday in half for us.
We're going now to run a sound and meditation event. So
this is great. Thank you. And this will be on YouTube, on every podcast platform, and you can follow us on Instagram. I will be posting all the details in the description below, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you.